I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Oops, the podcast. The dog days of summers are upon us. I sit next to a specimen of a man. He is strong. He is ready. He is focused. He is disciplined. He's a great guy. Spend some time with him if you're able to. Give it up for Ryan LYNCH, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Everyone's clapping instead of holding the steering wheel. I appreciate that. I do feel focused today. I just picked up my medicine on my way here.
Really?
Yeah, so I'm very focused.
You take focus medicine?
I take focus medicine.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Did I know that?
I think you knew that.
Did I know that?
Are you taking your focus medicine?
Oh, yeah.
Because if you were, you would know, because I've told you plenty.
Oh, damn, Ryan. That's.
And now I'm pissed off.
Now Ryan's mad. Ryan has a bit of a temper these days.
All right, what do you want to talk about?
Okay, wait a second. So what do you take? Do you want to talk about this on the air? What are you taking?
It's not that. I take some Adderall.
What kind of dosage are we
Small
talking?
dosage, 5 milligrams.
Oh, we have talked about this.
Just keeps me focused. I'm scatterbrained a lot, so it just kind of keeps me on task.
Nice.
That's it.
Yeah, well, so I like to set my alarm 30 minutes before I wake up,
Okay.
pop one, fall back asleep for 30 minutes, and then wake up, and I just feel very able to conquer the day. Whereas if I weren't to do that, I would feel really anxious, and sometimes my day might start off in a bad way, and that would suck. And there's I've coined this technique after a person who told me about this, but I don't want to implicate her.
Or him.
I don't want to implicate anyone. But yes. So anyway, that's what I do sometimes, Ryan.
Hey, we need to focus.
How often are you taking it?
Twice a day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. But I take mine not right when I wake up. I take it right before I start my first task.
Right.
That way it kicks in while I'm already attempting to get X, Y, or Z done.
I like that.
And it just keeps me in the zone. And if I take it and it kicks in while I'm on my phone scrolling, that's bad. That's really bad.
Oh, yeah. I've heard about this.
Because I will doom scroll until lunch.
Yeah, sometimes you can sort of hyper focus on the wrong activity.
Do that quite often. So that's why, for me, my system needs to be take it when you start working.
Yes, I feel you. Did you listen to the pod during COVID?
I listened to every single episode of Oops, the podcast before I started working with you guys religiously.
So that's really sick.
I remember the first time I listened, I was on a long car ride up to Massachusetts to visit Victoria. That's where she was at the time. And I learned about you and your arson charge.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, wow, these guys are interesting.
Nice. You're right. That's very sweet.
So yes, I do remember listening during COVID.
So one thing, and I'm not trying to sort of glaze over how sweet that moment we just experienced was. Very, very fun. And anyways, Lynch, it is nice that this is a rare, because it's funny, sometimes people will listen to other people's podcasts or people will watch other people perform and think, oh, I could do it. And then they can't. But that is not the case with you, Lynch.
Thank you.
You're very talented. You've done quite well for yourself thus far. And I look forward to seeing what comes for you in the future.
Thank
Everybody
you.
Raise a glass to Lynch.
Oh, stop. As you were.
So anyway, during COVID, I sort of started trying to not take it anymore, which is the perfect time to try. I had just been taking it for many years, and I was just kind of like, maybe I should try. And I was able to do it, but only because I had nothing to do. Now, I could theoretically not take it, but I don't know how much I would enjoy my life. So it's funny, when I was at the doctor, I told him, I was like, I'm trying not to take it. The doctor's like, why? I was like, I don't know. I just feel like maybe it might not be good for me or something. He's like, there's literally no proof that that's true. He's like, you're taking barely any. Like, you should keep taking it, man. This is what the point of it is. I was like, oh, okay. Wow. Thanks.
Yeah. Do you feel guilty or less than because you need it?
Definitely not. And as a kid, they were trying to get me on it. And I was just very defiant for some reason. I had all these tics as a kid. I used to do this. I'm shaking my head right now. And dude, like I was in a play. There's like a video of me in a play, just being like
Sorry
rolling
for
my heads
laughing.
back, like very Tourette sort of stuff.
Tourette territory.
I would smell my fingers all the time. And I told Hillary about this the other day. She's like, "Why do you always have to scare me before bed?" So anyway, and I don't think that. So just the point being, I was sort of like hyperactive. I went to a neurologist, like, all this stuff. And I was just like not that well behaved in school either. But I wasn't dumb, but I just wasn't able to focus really.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, they were trying to get me on stuff. I resisted. And eventually once the school workload started to get difficult, and plus like stuff like anxiety sort of becomes more intense as you get older too. Like realizing stuff, you know what I mean? Like, cause when you're a kid, you can sort of like watch the same movie 90 times and you're not thinking about whether or not that's a good use of time, which I sort of miss that time a bit.
I miss that time all the time.
I miss that
boy.
time a bit.
I wish I was a little boy.
Yeah. But I also like, I think I had this sort of weird, deep desire to travel and shit from a young age too, because like, you know the movie, It's a Wonderful Life?
I'm familiar.
So there's a thing, the whole point of the movie is like, well, not the whole point of the movie, but one of the things is like George, the main character, he wants to be this big traveler and he's going to travel the world and this and that. And he ends up sort of just getting anchored down in this town. And it ends up being a nice story where it's like the town really loves this guy, depends on him, like things get bad and he kind of bails the whole town out and is there and he gets married and he doesn't want to get married. I'm never getting married. You know what I mean? And I remember I used to watch that and that would give me anxiety. I was like, I hope I don't end up like George.
At a young age?
This guy who wants to do all this stuff, but he ends up not being able to. It's supposed to be like a nice message, but to me, it was like, that gave me some of my initial anxiety in life.
Your first
My
taste
first
of anxiety.
real case of anxiety. This fear that I wouldn't experience things, or like I took this quiz that asked how many, like stupid online quiz. It's like, answer this quiz and you'll find out how many people you're going to sleep with in your life. And I finished the quiz and I think it said like 2 people or something. And I was like so depressed about that for like 7 years until I hit number 3 or whatever.
And you're like, fuck that quote.
Oh shit. Sorry, Lynch. That was bad.
Julio got a little excited with his feet.
I got a little excited with my feetsies. So anyway, dude, yeah, I think that the main draw for me to taking focus medicine is that it sort of takes away the anxiety that prevents me from focusing. That's what I'm sort of, and I don't know to what degree I'm not understanding it totally. I'm sure people who are experts are listening and being like, well, what you're not realizing is XYZ, fine. But like, that is what the relationship that I think that I have with it, because I can't relax sometimes without it.
Mm-hmm.
So even if I don't have anything to do, the fact that I have nothing to do gives me anxiety sometimes. So if I'm like on vacation and I'm sitting there and I'm like, what am I going to do today? Like, what should I do? Should we do, should I sit here? Should I read a book? Like, should I, like, you know what I mean? And once I take it, everything just sort of like falls into place in my brain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is some sort of guilt. Maybe it's with ADHD.
You have
or
guilt?
something like that. Guilt when you have free time. That is a side effect, I think. It's just
really?
feeling like you need to be doing something.
Interesting.
There's a woman that lives across from our building, and I watch her reading on her balcony, and she's out there for hours.
Nice.
And it seems like that's something that I could never do. I couldn't unplug and go outside and take time to paint or read or whatever I want to do that has nothing to do with work. Every day she goes outside and she reads.
Have you ever gotten really into a book?
Colin Jost's memoir. I read that
Recently?
relatively quickly a year or 2 ago.
Nice. It is a good feeling. I feel you, and I have trouble getting really into a book also.
Yeah.
But when I do, it's a really special feeling that I wish I could replicate, but it just doesn't end up happening.
Yeah, I downloaded a self-help category book the other day. I think a couple weeks ago, and so I'm 7 minutes in.
Living your best life.
Something like that. Something about breaking bad habits. It's not the Atomic Habit or the Power of Habit. It's another one.
Care to share, Lynch, or are you too shy?
No, I'm not too shy. I just like haven't listened to it yet, so I kind of forget what it is off the top of my head. But regardless, I downloaded that.
Nice.
I tend to gravitate towards memoirs. I have Bryan Cranston's memoir next to my bed for that just in case moment.
I like them too. I feel like it's a guy thing.
It might be, yeah. There's small chapters, and they're just. I think his book is called A Life in Parts, and I'm 100 pages in. I've been reading it for 3 years, and
You're gonna need a recap when you get back into it.
and I'm enjoying it whenever I read my little snippets of it.
He seems pretty cool, huh?
I love Bryan Cranston.
He's pretty fucking cool.
He's the best.
And also just cool to have like people. It's funny when they tell this story about stardom where they're like, you know, it took him so long to get his breakout role. The guy was in a fucking sitcom for years. Like the guy did tons of stuff before and was making money.
Cranston?
Yes.
Yeah, Yeah, he has. I know he was in Seinfeld.
He's in he was the father of Malcolm in the Middle or something, right?
How?
Yeah. So
he was the first person. This might have changed since. He might be the only person who has won a primetime Emmy for a comedy and for a drama as a lead actor. Maybe not as a lead actor, but just in both those categories.
that's
For
amazing.
Breaking Bad, and I think he won a couple for Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah, so I'm not like fully straight on his story, but you know, sometimes they tell this story about these actors and they try to make it seem like they try to sort of embellish the struggle a bit. And I'm sure, I mean, you know, Malcolm in the Middle, he played a father. So, and I don't know what happened before that. Maybe his 20s were tough, whatever. I don't know what the fuck.
I'm still in like his teenage years.
Oh, wow.
Very early. I think it's a 250-page book. I'm almost a third of the way through.
Well, John Hamm is another good example that they use.
Yeah.
Of a guy who got that big breakout role a little bit later in life. And I mean, I'm sure there's some truth to it. It's like, as an actor, if you're like in an episode of a TV show, to give you guys an idea, you make a couple $1,000. And if it's like some cable show or whatever, like there's certain kinds of shows where like when they put it somewhere else, you'll get $100 or $200 or something. But like you're not making a crazy amount of money being in a couple episodes. Like you need to be in a recurring role.
Mm-hmm.
And even the structure of the way that works, I think, is changing a bit. So anyway, like this idea that these people couldn't afford stuff till they had their big part, there's probably some truth to it. But like there's a struggle beneath that. Like there's a guy who looks at not successful John Hamm and thinks of him as successful John Hamm. Does that make sense?
I get it. Like the power of struggle.
No,
The
like
perseverance of it.
maybe, but like there's a guy who has a side job and is getting like one audition a year and he's trying so hard and he's talented probably. He's probably talented and capable, and for whatever reason things haven't panned out for him. He got a late start, he started it the wrong way, whatever it is. Like there are other people out there struggling way harder than some of these stories you hear.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure, and I wonder which story is like the purest in that way. Because, you know, there's these guys who make it, like Samuel L. Jackson is a person who like made it big late, supposedly, right? I just wonder what the years leading up to these guys making it big actually looked like. Were they just like smaller actors who were still always working and making money without having to do anything on the side? Or were they like catering like into their 40s? I'd love to, and I'm sure I can find out.
Yeah, that's why I like these books. That might be why you might want to check those out. I listened to Sebastian Maniscalco's book years ago. I think during COVID I listened to it, and he was a waiter at the Four Seasons. He did a ton of odd jobs, and it is fun to see their trajectory get to more stable comedy gigs.
How long did it take him to not have to do other stuff?
I don't remember. I think he's like in the 10+ club.
The 10 plus what years till that happened?
Yeah.
Is that a term?
I just said it.
I like that, Lynch.
Yeah. But yeah, Bryan Cranston, I loved him in Breaking Bad. It was the first TV show I watched, like drama,
Great
straight
show.
through. It's like a part of my personality, as unique as I am. And so I wanted to go back, and when he released that book, I wanted to get a copy and have it sit next to me at my bed every night, even though I don't read it. Love you, Bry Guy.
Brag guy. Guys, if you're looking for a great way to sort of energize your routine, develop a healthy habit that'll help your digestion, your energy, all that stuff, I and Lynch and we at Oops the Podcast love AG1.
AG1 is a foundational nutrition supplement that delivers daily nutrients and gut health support and is backed up by multiple research studies so you can trust what you're putting into your body.
Yeah, love knowing that there are research studies going on with some of this stuff, just especially because it's hard to tell sometimes if stuff's going to work or not, but we can say for sure that we love AG1. And it's backed by multiple research studies and trusted by experts and medical professionals. And honestly, AG1's easy at home or on the go. They'll give you some travel packs if you were to order it here with us. They're easy to bring along with you. Goes nicely in the tin as well that they give you. Easy to shake in a shaker bottle.
It's fun to shake in a shaker bottle.
It's fun.
Shaking a shaker bottle is giving healthy.
It sure is giving
gut
healthy.
health.
AG1 is constantly putting their formula to the test, trusted by experts and medical professionals, and is backed by multiple research studies, like we were saying before. And I think that they are on their like 50th something iteration of the formula. So they keep perfecting it and developing it to make it better and better as time goes on. And 97% of people in a research study felt more energy after 30 days of drinking AG1. 91% of participants noticed that they need less coffee after 60 days of drinking AG1. A great, solid habit. And we know that it's a popular, pervasive product, so we're happy to have them back in the saddle with us. We love AG1.
If I had to recommend one product to support whole body health, it's AG1. And that's why we're excited to have them as a new partner. Starting your journey with AG1 is a win. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase at drinkag1.com/oops. That's drinkag1.com/oops. Check it out. The thing, no. We're not going to overlook the fact that you used to smell your fingers. Can we get a little more info on that? How did that come to be?
I don't know, bro. It was just like a tick. Like I had all these ticks. So I would smell my fingers a lot.
I'm trying to think of other...
I was trying to be like subtle about it.
Yeah, I know.
But I would smell all of them at the same time.
I don't know, but now I know, yeah.
Yeah.
I do this thing where like if I touch something with my left hand twice, I have to touch something with my right hand twice or 3 times and then even it out again on the left hand to make it 3 and 3. And then if I do it 4 times on my right hand, I have to do it 5 times on my left and then 1 again on the right side to make sure that we get to like, yeah. But I would do it with touching things, not necessarily patting on my legs.
Do you still do it?
No, not as much. That's why I chew gum. I like need to, I'm very like, I'm orally fixated. I like need to be doing things. I had the fidget spinner. I had the fidget cube. Like love that shit. That helps me focus too.
Love a spinner and a cube.
Love a spinner and a cube. There was a guy in college that when I, like in 2016, the fidget spinners were like really killing it.
2016?
2016, maybe 2017,
right.
within that range. I was in college and everyone had fidget spinners. And this guy named Matt, he thought it would be a fun entrepreneurial idea to buy a ton of fidget spinners and sell them on campus.
Classic.
And he came to chapter, which is like the fraternity meeting once a week. And he was like, guys, I bought a ton of fidget spinners and I'm going to sell them for like $4. I bought them in bulk for $2 a pop. I'm going to sell them for $4 and I'm going to use the money that I make from selling these fidget spinners to help us buy some kegs for a great banger of a party.
That is a realistic goal, at least.
Yeah.
I'm buying us fidget spinners right now, by the way.
And we were like, oh, that's great, Matt. You're so smart. And it's giving Mark Cuban. And he ends up setting up like a table outside of the student center. And he did not sell a single fidget spinner.
Did he have logos on them?
No logos, just regular red, blue, and green fidget spinners, and nobody bought any. And I think it financially ruined it.
How much money did he spend on them?
I don't know. But he had boxes of fidget spinners that inside those boxes had plenty of boxes of fidget spinners. And then he went crazy. It's like his trajectory from my experience knowing him, he went crazy. And I don't know if that's what started it, but
he's just sitting on the side of the road somewhere with a box of fidget spinners. I just bought us 2 fidget spinners, dude.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, so those will get here tomorrow.
That'll be great. We will
show up to Amazon Prime.
That's awesome.
Okay, dude, I have a very good scenario here.
Okay.
That I'm excited to discuss on the pod. So tell me what you think about this. Somebody that I know is sort of experiencing this right now. Curious what you guys think. And we'll talk about it. So I have a friend, you know this person, but I'm not going to name him by name because I don't want to, cause any
All
problems.
right, guys. So it's a guy.
Yes, it is a guy.
Let's try to narrow this down without getting him to
that's
say
fine.
it.
No,
Okay.
I'll tell you even more specific. So this guy, friend of mine, early 30s. Okay. In a creative job where he is sort of focused and hustling to try to get some shit going for himself. He's sort of new still, and he is trying to get some shit popping.
Okay.
So he's spending all his time and money doing this. So he doesn't really have a ton of. He can't really be on like a traditional dating schedule if he's going to be this committed, which I relate to. I remember these days, and he's even more sort of dedicated than I was at this stage, where I sort of partied more and I was willing to have more fun. So even though I wasn't going on dates, I'd be at shows, I'd be drinking, and I'd be going out with girls for sure. So he's doing less of that. Okay. So anyway, and this is a person who used to be going out with girls all the time. And since he's made this shift, it's just been harder to balance it all. So he's spending maybe a little less time dating than he would like to. Okay. So a girl came to his show, and it's unclear if she came because she knew about him because of the mutual connection they share or not. This girl is younger. She is, I believe 19 years old.
Okay.
She came to his show. I think they were messaging a bit or something. Now, this girl is friends with his very good family friends. So his very good family friends' little sister. So his sort of like reference point, he has like a peer who's the same age as him, somebody he's known, who's a girl. Her little sister, this is her friend.
Got it.
When it kind of came out that they were chatting, of course, the girl's 19, she's going to tell the friend or whatever. The friend got upset, gave him a hard time. The older sister got upset, gave him a hard time. And we're sort of being like, she's 19, like that she's like barely legal. Like, we're like, what are you doing? Basically, it's my friend. Like, why my friend? Like, she's 19. Are you serious? The older sister, continued to say these type of things. I think has maybe followed up, trying to set him up with somebody who she deems to be more age appropriate. And I don't know how I feel about all this, Lynch. Do you have a take?
Do I have a take? Wow. Do I want to come off as a creep or do I want to play it safe?
Just be honest.
I think it's fair game as long as he's respectful. And it seems like he's the one being ambushed by the accusations of how could you be talking to her.
The gaslighting committee.
Gaslighting committee. I like that. That's nice. And he hasn't necessarily presented his case in the circumstances in which they started talking. Like you mentioned, you don't know if she showed up coincidentally.
It's unclear.
You don't know if she showed up because she knows of him. You don't know if she showed up because she's interested in him because of what she's heard of him. Does it matter that she's the one that initiates this?
Let's assume, okay, for the sake of this discussion, let's assume she only knows because she came with the friend. I don't think it matters, but let's say that is the scenario that sort of I thought of a good word for this. Oh, the matriarchy. Mm-hmm. Not a word we talk about often. The matriarchy can maybe lay claim mostly if they say that they brought her there or something. So like,
isn't there an age rule, like a rule for how young you can date?
I don't know, like sort of like
there's an equation,
a colloquial. Now look, 19 and 32, I get it. That is, to me, if I was like, all right, if I'm going to date somebody, that is too young. Okay. But it's like for me, and they're like, what are you going to talk about? None of your fucking business is my point. First of all, who cares? Let them talk about whatever. This poor guy is he meets somebody who he's vibing with potentially for the first time in a while. And he's being told that he can't do it for no good reason other than judgment. It's fully legal and allowed. It might be whatever. Like, I don't get what's frowned upon about it. And yes, for me personally, I'm like, okay, it's a 19-year-old. Maybe it would be weird, but like, it's summer. She's going back to school. Like, what's the worst that could happen? Somebody gets a little butthurt at the end when it goes weird, and then everybody resumes their life. This girl's going to graduate to 3 or 4 different life stages between now and then. And if he gets burned and gets his feelings hurt, it's all right. He put himself in this position. That is his burden to bear.
Yeah. And it's not that he's not dating the family friend's youngest daughter. It's the youngest daughter's friend.
Correct.
And that is like a deviation away in which maybe you should stay out of it. It's not that big of a deal for them to be seeing each other.
Are they even dating?
Yeah, maybe.
No.
Yeah. There's a number formula online for how young you can date. You take your age, divide it by 2, and add 7. So how old is this person?
Okay, let's see.
Where it's socially acceptable to date.
Okay, so let's say he's 32.
All right, so 32 divided by 2. I think that's 16, add 7. So under this formula, the youngest that he can date is 23. So in society's eyes, 23 is the youngest he can go. I don't know. When I see celebrities dating people that are significantly younger than them and they're over 18, it doesn't bother me. Do I have kids? Will that opinion change when I have a daughter or a son? Probably. But as of right now, I think that's totally fine.
100%. Also, bro, I'll tell you what. When I see celebrities dating a young person, you know what I think? Nothing. Because who fucking cares?
People that have nothing better to do than to be worried about the age gap between 2 other people that don't give a fuck about you.
Jim Carrey's dating someone who goes to NYU. Oh, well, I don't fucking care at all.
Yeah.
I don't care at all. I don't think about it. I don't know Jim Carrey. I'm not going to act like I know him because he's dating someone who's 18. If he's even dating someone who's 18, I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
Now, I became very defensive for my friend. I know some of the people involved who I like a lot, hold in high regard. There is a chance that this will sort of get back to me, and I'm okay with that. I'm willing to have a discussion about this topic because I feel for my pal, and I want him to be living his best life and be rewarded for his sacrifices that he's making. And instead, he is being vilified and judged and told who is and is not age appropriate for him. And I don't like it, Lynch. I just don't like it. Let us know what you guys think about this.
Please email us your thoughts on this one because I know that's controversial and some people are going to be like, that's disgusting. But really, why?
So anyway, good luck to him. I hope that he was sort of fine with it. He had sort of accepted it, and I then riled him up a bit, and hopefully he will be standing up for himself.
Hopefully.
That's all I got to say. How was your wedding this weekend, Ryan?
It was great. Congratulations to Tyler and Michelle. It was a beautiful wedding. They got married in Massachusetts. Great ceremony. The reception was great. The coolest part about the wedding was they hired the saxophone player who stands outside of TD Garden in Boston. Boston shows went great, by the way. Thanks for coming out. Julio killed it.
Thank you, bro.
And he's always standing out there after the Celtics and the Bruins play. And so they hired him, and he was wearing a sequins jacket, and he was strutting around with his saxophone playing all the classics. And everybody had a really good time. Vic's on the younger side of all of her cousins. Most of her cousins are in their mid to late 30s, early 40s. And they all are still at the age where they're all still at a place in their life where they want to let loose at the wedding. They're not just sitting and like, oh, we have to get home to the babysitter. Like, they have such a good time.
Nice.
They're so much fun to hang out with. And one of Vic's cousins, Adam, he's a really good break dancer. And he's a father of 2. I just think that's sick.
He just got in the circle, started ripping the worm.
He literally just did this crazy break dancing. We did some Armenian step dancing, which is a tradition. We did that, a lot of and a lot of stomping. And so that's fun. My one note that I was in trouble for, I took we took a lot of photos. Vic brought a digital camera, and we were scrolling through to try to find a cute one of the 2 of us. And I'd say the first 5 photos of the 2 of us, I was making this face.
Like being silly.
I love to make that face. I make my head really red. And it's funny because
You do it again. The fish, face.
Make that the thumbnail.
Yeah, I like that.
And it really upsets Victoria, but in a way that I just love because it's innocent. How like what? Sorry, I'm being silly. Sorry, I'm trying to have fun. That's how I like to gaslight her. My bad. Sorry, I was making your uncle laugh. My bad. Sorry for trying to bond with him. And so I make that face, and that's in the first photo of us, and she's smiling seriously. Second photo of us, she's smiling seriously. We get to the third photo of me making that face, and I'm thinking to myself, did I smile normally once for Victoria? Does she have any opportunities to like have a memory with me at this wedding where I'm not being an asshole? Get to the fourth photo, I'm still making that face. Fifth photo, I smile normally.
Very
Thank
good.
God.
Good self-correction.
And I could just feel as we were scrolling through the photos that she was having the same thoughts of like, the next one, he better be fucking smiling. The next one, he better be fucking smiling. And that's fair. I'm not painting her to be a villain. That's fair. I was being a goofball. And I love it. I love being a goofball around Vic and her family because they love it. And we got some good pictures. And it was a good time. Really good time.
Well, you did good, kiddo.
Thank you. Wait, look at this picture. I'll put this one on the pod. This one was a fun one. They had a photo booth.
Oh, nice.
This was me, and this was like the most serious, nice one that we took. Vic's dad popped into the background
Very
of
nice, Lynch.
it, and but
You
then
look nice here.
thank you. But then I took this one, and Vic saw from a distance, and she was furious.
You got to throw that in the episode.
I'll throw that in there. But like,
That's
I could do
good.
this thing with my chin, and she really doesn't like it. And so I didn't notice the bride and groom. This photo booth, it was all digital. They didn't print them out. It just got you put your phone number in afterwards, and they send it to you. And I'll include this one. But the bride and groom, they got all of the photos, and so they were scrolling through in between photos of grandma, and then there was just like this one with me like spitting and drooling on myself.
Nice. Dude.
So we had a good time. Good time.
Yeah, man. It's a thing. It's funny. Like when you are with your family, it can be difficult to graduate out of the family legacy that they have for you. And especially if, you sort of progress in your life in a way, they will sort of try to keep you sometimes where you were before for whatever reason. And I don't think maybe they necessarily mean to, but there is a personality type that tries to. And all I have to say about that, and whether it's family or friends, the people who are annoying, sort of the people who don't give you the respect when you're like hustling or like doing stuff, or they try to like undercut your achievements, are the same. They're annoying in a new way once they recognize your achievements. Those people are just annoying. So there's nothing that you're going to do to make them not annoying. Oh, I'll show them. Once you show them, they will graduate to a new level of annoyingness.
I can't talk about this on the podcast, but yes, I am picking up exactly what you're putting down. I've experienced this.
And yeah, I'm not even talking,
about it.
my family are supportive when it comes to work and stuff. Usually, my extended family and stuff, they sort of are cool about it, whatever. But generally speaking, there's just the classic stuff of people who, will sort of make some sort of critical jokes about any sort of entrepreneurial person. And it can be frustrating.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned this, people making comments. We're at the wedding, and I had dinner with a friend last night, and he's getting married soon. And this was something that's been bothering him as well. The deadline driven questions of how you're supposed to live your life in society. The first question you get is, when are you guys getting engaged? When are you getting married? When are you having your first kid? Mm-hmm. When are you getting a house? Those are questions that people are asking at the top of the hour of conversation, instead of asking questions more like, how's work? How's life? It's just asking that question because you're supposed I
know what you mean.
Okay, you get what I mean.
I hate when I'm talking to someone and I can tell that they are thinking about this timeline and that it bothers them. And they talk to me in a way where I'm supposed to just automatically be aligned that I agree with this sort of societal pressure or model. I clearly don't. Like, I don't live my life that way. And sometimes I wish I did. Sometimes I wish I did things more conventionally and maybe I'd have more freedom than I think. But like, you know, when I'm going to have to do this, I'm going to, you know, we've got to get a house. We got to start a family. We got to do this. We got to do that. Do we? I don't know. And I don't like that. I don't like other people's things sort of oozing onto me.
Yeah.
That feels more impactful than a guy being like, when are you guys getting married? I don't give a fuck about that guy, what that guy thinks, you know, about what I'm doing. Like, I care less about him than I do about like just a casual conversation with somebody who's like fully in this mindset.
Yeah.
Cause then I'm like, it starts to feel destabilizing. Some random person busting my balls does not feel destabilizing. Any person just kind of busting my balls doesn't feel destabilizing. This is just for me personally. But when I'm like, ooh, I'm around these people who think this way, is that going to start rubbing off on me? Should I not be around that? I start to question myself a little bit more. It's funny because I remember that I used to not like the questions about things when it came to my work, at least. That was the thing that made me insecure, because there were sort of things that could be exposed by asking the right questions.
Yeah.
Which I didn't like. Oh, wow. Yeah, you're doing it. Cool. Man, it's got to be tough. Like, what else do you do?
Well, how much are you putting in your 401k?
Oh, man, I wish. Not even that. Just sort of like.
That one is that's really mean.
Yeah, no,
That's
one's
trying
like,
to get you cornered.
Well, I think like. Yeah. Like, I mean, I guess there's different buttons that can be pushed for each of us, but like this idea that you're being doubted when you're also doubting yourself. You're sort of like on this path that's not easy, but there's evolved things about it that make it less difficult than a person might think. Just even trying to do it sets you above the general population. So it's like, oh, how many people really make it as a comedian? How many people try and make it? How many people actually are comedians? Fine. Small percentage of the population. How many people try? Not that many. And of those people who try, how many people really try? Even fewer. So once you break it down to this small group of people, all right, so now this is a group of people who try. They've tried in this way for this long, in this whatever, right? Maybe learning how to do those 3 or 4 things, that is a difficult thing to do in and of itself. But if you're able to sort of be part of that pool of people, the odds increase dramatically, right? So suddenly all these tropes that you're used to growing up about why, you know, it's too risky to try certain things, it suddenly starts to not be applicable anymore, right?
To you.
But it's still unclear how you're going to do, right? How are you going to do? Are you going to be able to make this work? And look, the jury is still out on both of us potentially. You know, who knows? Like, but you know, I've had some success recently and it's been nice. Before that, I really hated those conversations because it exposed my insecurities to me. But now I don't have those insecurities. So if people were to ask me that, I have no problem being in that conversation. Yeah. Because I can very easily answer the questions. And maybe it's because I don't have to prove myself because it's obvious or something. Yeah. I don't know.
You have enough evidence out there to prove how legit you are.
But I also don't care.
I know. Yeah.
But I used to. So that's an interesting thing that sucks. And it's actually an interesting examination about winning and losing. I heard somebody talking about this. It's like you go into this thing, you win the championship and then you've won. And then what? It's kind of a letdown. Whereas when you lose, it hurts so much more than winning feels good sometimes. And that's the thing we should all try to correct. So it's the same thing in this situation because it's like, say that I'm losing when I'm being asked this question. That question hurts me a lot. What else are you doing? And I try to maybe sugarcoat it and say it in a way that doesn't sound as bad to make it sound better than it really is. And once I can answer, oh, I'm doing this, this, and this, I don't enjoy the satisfaction of being able to say that as much as I should. But maybe I shouldn't have felt bad to begin with. Maybe that's the answer there. I don't know. But all I have to say, guys, is that it was worth it to enjoy your victories and not feel bad about losing and not be afraid of losing. It's okay to lose. You know what I mean? Yeah. The jury remains out on you unless you're an athlete. Yeah. When you have a shelf life. What were you going to say? Sorry.
No, don't apologize. I was just going to mention speaking to older people about what we do and trying to convince them of the validity of it. And sometimes how you just need to just like back out. I was talking to Victoria's grandmother who's 98.
Wow.
And she's like, "You're doing a comedy show next week. That's fantastic." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm really excited about it." And she's like, "That's not your full-time job though, is it?" And I should have just said, "Oh no, it's just something I do because it's just easier." And she's a sweet lady and she means the best. But for whatever reason, I wanted to convince her that through social media and content creation, it's actually a feasible career these days. But that's just not worth explaining to someone that age. And I learned that because I was like, well, actually, Grandma, I make videos online, and if they do well enough, I actually get paid. And she's like, oh, that's great. But you still have a steady job, right? And then I doubled down even more. I was like, well, actually, depending on how well these videos do, they actually could make you a lot of money. And Vic's cousin looked at me and was like, Rye, come on. And I was like, yes, Grandma, I work 9 to 5, yes.
Hilarious.
She's like,
I mean, bro, this poor lady grew up with the Great Depression.
oh, 100%. I'm not bashing on her at all. I just like caught myself just being like, you don't. She's lovely. Leave her alone. Leave her alone.
Well, here's a good piece of advice for you, bro. In those kind of situations, and I get she's 98, so that maybe it's not applicable there. But saying less is more, right?
Yes.
So like, if somebody's
Yes.
like, "Oh, you're a comedian," yeah. You have a show next week, yeah, I do, yeah. Is that your full-time job? Yeah, it is. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, it is, right? Yeah. Wow, like, how much better does that sound then? You're a comedian? Yeah, I am. It's your full-time job? Yeah, no, it is. It took me a while to get here to this point where it was. Before I used to do a bunch of other stuff, but now, like, as long as I can keep my pipeline full, I hopefully I'll be able to. And yeah. I mean, there's actually quite a few ways to monetize in this climate. Why are you convincing them?
Qualifying.
Who the fuck are you, bro?
Yeah.
I don't know about what you do. Why are you so fixated on what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Fuck off, bro.
Fuck off, Grandma.
Fuck up, dude.
I'm kidding.
Grandma? No. When are you going to Armenia, bro? We got to get Lynch on the Armenia trip.
I don't know.
Has Vic been many times? I think we've talked about this.
She has
before.
not been yet.
She's
I think
never
she has
been.
birthright. She has not been. Her sister has been.
Oh, they have like a birthright sitch.
I think they do.
Is she going to do
they
it?
got that birthright switch.
Did you bring a +1?
I think so. No, she does have the birthright sitch. She's gonna cash in on it. I don't know if that'll be anytime soon. That might be like in 10. Like that might be a long ways from now. That's not on the priority list right now. But she'll go.
So I know with Israel there's sort of an age cap. Is there not with Armenia?
I don't know.
Looking this up.
I don't know if there's an age cap.
Well, it's funny. It's not. Well, it's not funny. It's an interesting. There are similarities between those two groups in that they were both have been persecuted. Both had sort of notable genocides in the 20th century, and it doesn't surprise me that birthright model exists, because when people are trying to eliminate you and your group of people and your way of life, you value. You appreciate it more because it's not, you don't take it for granted. You're like, wow, we almost lost all of this. It's important that we tell future generations about it and to be proud of it and to make sure that we keep it going.
Yeah, she has until she's 32 years old.
Nice.
21 to 32 is the age range in which you can go.
Are you guys going to do it?
Maybe. She'll probably do it. Maybe I'll go. I'm so sorry to tell you that, G.
What do you mean?
Maybe I won't go.
No, bro, it's all right. You don't have to do shit.
Yeah.
But it'll be an enriching experience that you'll really appreciate if you do. But feel free to just go and be mad in line at Starbucks instead, Lynch.
I appreciate that.
I don't know about you, dude, but living in sort of a bigger neighborhood, I'm doing a lot more walking these days than I used to, which has been nice. But I'm easily doing between 10 and 15K steps a day, like as a baseline. It's a lot of steps.
That's a lot of steps.
A lot of steps. But dude, you need the right underwear for that sort of steppage.
Certainly do.
There's a lot of chafing that can happen. There's a lot of discomfort that can happen if you are not equipped with the right tools. And that's why MeUndies has got you covered. Solid boxer brief from MeUndies is so cool and comfortable. And it also like fits nicely. Like if you look at the leg here, I find this runs down my leg nicely so that it doesn't start to bunch. Because when it bunches, that's when you start to get that like inner thigh chafing situation.
Yeah.
Which can be very uncomfortable.
Yeah. I'm wearing my MeUndies right now, and I rode a bike here, and it's breathable. The fabric is,
great, man.
it lets you just focus on what you're doing and not worrying about scrunching and pulling your your underwear and tugging on it. It's there. Everything's in place. Worry about all the other stuff you got to worry about.
And yeah, I mean, it really is just a solid underwear, but they have all different styles and colors and designs of underwear as well. So whatever your specific need will be, MeUndies will for sure have you covered and will be sort of the pinnacle of that style. I know for the boxer brief, like this is my go-to. And I feel like you'll feel the same way. And I must add this, it's also great for sports. I intend to play a lot of tennis this summer. I just got my rackets strung. I re-gripped them. I'm like, bought new sneakers. I'm ready to get out there and do it. And I'm very excited to have a full arsenal of MeUndies to accompany me on that journey.
Yeah, and it's anti-odor. So
solid.
good for you for hanging out in the locker room afterwards.
Amen, brother.
Yeah, so summer is coming, everybody. Get every cut for your butt from MeUndies. Get 20% off your first order plus free shipping at MeUndies.com/OopsPodcast. That's MeUndies.com/OopsPodcast for 20% off plus free shipping. MeUndies, comfort from the outside in.
My mom said something funny that I want to tell you about before we wrap it up here.
Sure thing.
We have some emails too. We'll try an email too after I tell you this, but this is pretty funny.
Yeah, we're good on time. We got plenty for next up too.
My mom texted me, poor Lynch is pretty thin-skinned.
With what? What was it?
You were probably talking about how upset you were about something.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yo, I do need to work on my skin
he's
thickness.
taking steroids, Mom. It's not his fault.
That is one thing I need to work on is like developing my thicker skin, which is like such a you need that in this world.
You need some thick skin, my brother.
But I get angry. I'm more receptive to feedback like in work, but when it comes to just like interactions with people on the street, like I can't handle someone that inconveniences me in the slightest. And I know that's unhealthy and that's not attractive and that's not a good trait to have. Like today on my way over here, I walked into Juice Generation on Bedford Ave to grab a little smoothie because I didn't have time to make breakfast. And I got my smoothie. I'm walking out and I go to hold the door. The right thing to do is to hold the door if someone's walking in. And I held the door and this woman, she looked at me and just walked in and she didn't say thank you. And I know I might be an asshole for this, but it really pissed me off that she didn't say thank you. And
did you say you're welcome?
I said you're welcome, and I pushed the door. She was already inside, but I pushed the door, which I think could be violent. I like pushed the door to try to like catch her ankle, but not hard. I knew it wasn't going to, but I said you're welcome, and I pushed the door back. And then I thought about this would be a great plot for a film where there's this woman and she's the most selfless person in the world. And her sister is sick and she's dealing with being on the verge of getting laid off while also shouldering the responsibility of getting the family together to visit the sister on hospice.
You thought of this while
I was walking here today. After I tried to slam the door on this woman, and she's trying to just keep it together, and she's really struggling, and she's talking to the nurses, and they're able to accommodate, and they're able to make the hospital room look similar to the sister's bedroom because she's nervous that she's at the hospital, and even though she's on hospice, she isn't quite at terms with it yet. And the sister, she just keeps getting piled on with guilt and shame and paperwork and conversations and relaying the message to extended family members and coworkers and everybody that her sister is on her way out and you need to come to the hospital, but she hasn't eaten in days. So she goes to Juice Generation and to get a smoothie because she just needs a minute. And the door's open, and so she just walks in. And then
there you are.
And then there I am. And she doesn't say thank you because her head is just clouded with so much more than polite manners. And then the door gets slammed on her ankle and it shatters her ankle. And then it goes to end credits and it's called You Should Have Said Thank You. And that's the movie.
Dude, as her eyes are kind of like browning out as she sees this tall blonde figure standing over her, just going, "You're welcome." Fade to black. End scene. The hero becomes the villain.
Yeah. So that was my thought because I was trying to make, she's probably a nice person or she's a
It's so, guys, it's so funny because Lynch really is a joy to work with.
Thanks.
He does take feedback well in the rare scenario where I'm like, hey, let's try this, whatever's going on.
Let's stop using those slurs on the podcast.
Which ones? Feedback?
No, it's a joke.
Oh.
You saying as if I said terrible stuff on the
No,
podcast.
no.
Like,
Well, whatever we are discussing, Lynch is always receptive and easy and, a true joy to work with, which makes it funny that he's so rigid and difficult in the wild.
thank you.
But I prefer that. So if you happen to encounter him, hopefully you catch him on a good day. Be sure to do what you're supposed to do. Or, if you don't, you might find yourself in a whole load of trouble.
Yeah, or shattered ankle.
All right, let's rip this email real quick. What do you say?
Let's do it.
Know thy neighbor. Sup G and Ryan. Sup G and Ryan is really jacked.
Oh,
That's great. Had to write in after the neighbor convo. I live outside of Denver in an apartment complex, and I do interact with many of my neighbors for one specific reason: my dog. I have a black lab that's quickly become the neighborhood dog. Everyone loves her and stops to say hi when they see us walking. Everyone knows her name, but I don't know any of these neighbors' names. The neighbor that lives above me has taken this to the next level. He goes out of his way to say hi to my dog, and I have no clue what his name is and have no intention of asking. Here's where it gets funny. At least once a month, he leaves a big bag of dog treats outside our door. This is such a kind gesture. However, the bags are piling up. We have no less than 15 bags of dog treats stuffed in our cabinets that we have never touched. I'm talking big bags. I don't have the heart to tell him that we don't need treats because I know that he's just being kind. Should I say something? Ultimately, I plan on donating these to shelters in the area so they don't go to waste. Love the show. I mean, first of all, why can't you give the dog the treats? It's just like they don't fit in with the dog's diet, or you just have too many treats now?
did he say he doesn't give the treats at all?
I don't know. Did he say?
Or did he just have too many treats?
Yeah, maybe there's too many. Yeah, good call. They're piling up. Okay, so presumably he's giving the dog some treats. Dude, I think that you sound like a great guy, and this is the exact way that you should be handling this. Don't say stop giving them to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's a minor inconvenience to you to take in this lovely gesture. As long as the guy isn't being passive aggressive or starting to act like he needs something in return, which it doesn't sound like he is, take the treats, donate the treats. Everybody's happy. All good.
Yeah, and you get good karma for that. You probably feel good about yourself leaving the animal shelter after giving treats.
It's the niceness, politeness ecosystem
It
that
is.
we all should be lucky enough to live in
Yeah.
a community where everyone loves you and your dog.
That's a great situation.
It's a great situation. Enjoy it, my friend.
Yeah. So there's no knocking. He just leaves it outside.
Yeah, it sounds like he just leaves them outside,
Interesting.
which is nice. You don't like that?
No, I like
Lynch?
that. Okay, so he never clearly states, there's a warning. He never clearly states that he's given the dog the treats, right?
What do you mean? The guy? I mean, it seems pretty obvious, but it's maybe.
No, I mean,
maybe there's no note to the dog.
No, I know that, but is it clearly stated that he's fed at least one of these treats to his dog?
No.
Okay. I would, never mind.
What would
It's
you do?
wholesome. I was going to go down like a dark scenario of a hypothetical. I was just going to say, before you bring them to the animal shelter, make sure that, like, you don't know this guy. Like, maybe he doesn't like your black lab and he's trying to poison it. And these treats are laced with dark chocolate. So you might want to just take a bite of one of those doggy treats before you give it to the
Yeah, are they
animal
sealed?
shelter
Right.
and accidentally murder dozens of dogs.
Oh my God.
So just check.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, like
That's what popped into my head.
Yeah,
I
are
was
they
like,
in a
maybe this
sealed
is a
bag?
bad guy.
That's funny. Yeah, like are they in a branded, sealed, fresh dog? Are they just like he's repurposing them in a plastic bag? We don't know where they come from. That's hilarious.
Like a Ziploc bag, and it's grainy and smoky. It
Well,
smells like chocolate.
Do we have any tricks for him to learn the guy's name? Like, I think what you should, it would maybe make sense to start learning these people's names, dude. I know you don't have any intention of doing that, but it might be easy. I mean, is there some sort of like mailbox or buzzer system or something where you can like see his last name? Maybe it's B. Klein, and you can Google that with your address and find his name. I mean, it might be easy, and it might be nice to be like, hey Bob.
Yeah. A quick Google search, like you could figure that out. Find his package. That's a good tip.
Bob Klein.
Find his package. Search him on Google. Type in the building with his name. It'll show up. It'll show up.
It'll show up.
You can find anything about anybody on the internet easily. So that's a nice situation.
Agreed.
So cool.
Keep being nice to thy neighbor. Oops, the podcast. Julio and Ryan. I added a date to my schedule in New York City. The Stand, July 18th. Should be a good one. But grab some tickets. That one's going to sell out for sure. So get in there while you can. I'm also in Portland a week or two on a Wednesday, I believe. It is the 19th at Helium. It should be a good one. And then Pasadena at the Ice House, 3 of August, and the 20th and 21st of September in St. Pete, Florida. Additional hot one there. So come on down, grab some tickets, come see us. That's it. Lynch, what about you?
June 27th in Hoboken. More details to come.
Sweet.